Hey y'all, here's another video demonstrating how to use the Common Threads Loom to weave Pinloom style. Now, I want you to pay attention as we're going through this video to where the logo is. Kind of like Where's Waldo? We're going to play Where's the Logo? Where that logo is will help you to orientate yourself as you are weaving and winding the warp in half the weft. If you don't know what those words are, it doesn't matter. Just follow what I'm doing. Those are just weaving terms. And you just want to pay attention to where the lines are, where the string is going, because it's exactly as it is in reality. The visual guide is, which you can download at commonthreadsloom.com. As I've been doing in other videos, I am tying on a contrasting color just to make it clearer when we get to the last step. Following the diagram, we're going to turn our loom. And notice the logo. The logo has moved. In this third step, I did not leave in the visual guide the threads that are below. I'm only showing you how you're supposed to be continuing the warping pattern. So that's how it's supposed to look. Those are the pegs you're supposed to go around. I didn't want you to get confused. In that step, I actually show you the layers together so you see how they're supposed to go. And the next step, I tell you to turn the loom. Look at the logo. Logo's in the upper left-hand corner. And we're going to continue the warping pattern. We're always going to be going around the 3 pegs in the corner in between the black peg and the set of clear pegs at the bottom. Now this step has 2 different parts. This part where we're winding our thread, and this part. So, well, we've wound the thread. That's what we've done first. Now we're going to go around 4 times. The amount of times you're going to go around is going to be between 3.5 and 4 times. If you go 3.5 times, you're just going to have enough thread to actually weave the block. If you go around 4 times, you're going to have enough thread to weave and a good little bit extra to sew the blocks together. And again, I'm showing you that first picture shows you what you should have done. Alright, you want your large eye tapestry or yarn needle. And I'm showing you that you're going to start between that first peg and the black peg, but that's only because if you were to start between the black and the 2 clear pegs, you'd be right up against that first yarn, and it might first row of right to left weaving called the weft, and that might be confusing. But as you're going to see, when I finish weaving this first row, I'm actually going to bring the yarn up and around the 3 pegs in the corner, which will make all the corners look exactly alike. This may not make sense or why this is important if you are new to Pinloom weaving, but if you're a Pinloom weaver, you know that generally speaking, your 4 corners all are doing something different. With the Common Threads Loom, all 4 corners are exactly the same. Now, I am not really ambidextrous, meaning that I don't always use both my hands to do things. I am doing this for you, dear watcher, so that it makes it a little bit more clear how we are anchoring or catching the threads and how the pattern continues. You can thank my mother for this decision to weave back and forth with both hands as opposed to turning the loom. I was teaching her how to do this method of weaving, and she kept telling me that it was super confusing. She didn't understand, because I kept turning the loom and how I had to turn it and which direction. And I said, "Ma, we're just going back and forth." And she's like, "Show me." I'm like, "Okay." And so I put the loom flat like I have it now, showing you, and I just use both hands to go back and forth. And she's like, "Now that makes sense." And so hopefully this makes a little bit more sense for you as well. As you can see, minus me turning the loom so that I can use my dominant hand to weave, we're just doing the exact same thing. Nothing has changed. We're going around 2 clear pegs. Imagine that the left-hand side is the top of the loom, and always when we have the top of the loom, we're going around 2 clear pegs at the top. And when we're at the bottom of the loom, we're going between the 2 clear pegs, and then we're going around a clear and a black peg. It's the same pattern no matter whether you are winding or you're weaving. It's always the same pattern. And so we're going across, and we're using the contrasting threads, which are the bottom row, which is always going to be the row that you're going to be, or the layer that you're picking up, the bottom layer. You're going to go betweenst the black and clear set and around the 2. I will say this, that weaving in general has aided me in being able to use both of my hands a lot better. I don't know if it's true. I thought I read somewhere or heard somewhere that ambidexterity has something to do with being able to use both sides of your brain. I could be totally wrong. Totally, or read one of those crazy articles that we see pop up on Facebook. Yes, I admit to reading those sometimes. Sometimes they're just interesting. I take it all with a box of salt, though, because you never know if they're true. But anyway, I can say that from my own anecdotal personal experience, that weaving in general has helped me to be able to use both of my hands a little bit better. With rigid heddle weaving, which is what I do a lot of and also teach classes on, you're holding the heddle with both hands. At least I tell people to, and I hold my heddle with both hands as I'm beating, and doing the common motion kind of, I think, helps you to use both hands, and there's something useful in doing that. As you can see, I'm getting closer to the top. I'm pulling it down so it's a little bit closer to me so I'm not stretching. I do these videos with my loom on a table because I have a camera overhead so that you can see this better. But when you're weaving, I find, or at least when I'm actually weaving, without shooting videos for people to see, I actually have it in my lap. So just FYI, the body mechanics are a little bit better if you're weaving in your lap than if you're weaving on a table. So do what I'm telling you, not what I'm demonstrating, because the demonstration is totally for the video. So you go betweenst the empty space, and then you're just you're going to use your fingers to scrunch down the threads, to even them up, and you're going to scrunch the threads. Not sure if scrunching is the perfect weaving word, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. And you're also going to do the thread that's directly above it. I have to tell you, I actually shot a version of this video 3 times. So I made 3 squares, um, weaving back and forth with both hands. There are various issues with the different videos, but by the time I shot this video, I had gotten pretty proficient in weaving with both hands back and forth. So the final row, it actually worked out that it was with my right hand, which is my dominant hand, and that can be a little bit more fun. Weaving the top row, just take your time. It's not a race to see how many loops you can get on the needle. You just want to get through. And that is it. Now, you can see that the right and left hand sides are pulled in a little bit. We're just going to even those out by turning the loom so we can make them even. You want to do this off the loom while it has some tension, because once you take it off the loom, you really can't correct these mistakes as easily. And there you have it, a finished Pinloom block, and it should match that last square. All right, there you go.